Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Author Life Show, a space dedicated to sharing the unique stories of authors and creatives within the self-publishing space. My name is MG Hunt, and today I'm here with a wonderful editor in the indie author space. Please welcome Gabby from GCD Editorial to chat all about her editing life. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Gabby.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have a little chat,
I'm
have
so
a little yap.
excited. Yes, 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 yes. I love a yap. I think everyone that
Yes.
listens and knows me knows I'm a yapper. Professional yapper, I guess, with the microphone. But yes, I do love knowing all about what other people get up to in their own literary worlds, whether it be the writing space, illustration space, or in your case, the editing space. I mean, look,
Mm.
maybe there could be some writing hobbies that you get up to in your own world. Maybe we will chat about that. I don't know. You'll have to let us know if you do dabble in the writing space. But I should also preface this by saying that you and I have worked together for a short story that I wrote a while ago now, maybe a couple of months
Yeah.
ago, and it's for an anthology, and it will be coming
Mm.
out. Well, technically, the anthology is coming out, I think, next month for Secrets in the
Oh,
Pages.
exciting.
Yes, it is exciting. And the topic was it was about secrets. So
Okay.
I delved into like a romantic fantasy version of the story because I do write in fantasy, but this time it was a bit more romantic with a secret sort of touch to it. Do you remember when we worked together?
Yes, yes, of course I remember. Yeah, I think it
Oh,
was either
yeah.
end of last year or beginning of this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's always
yeah.
fun to work on a little short story rather than the
Yeah,
longer manuscript. It's a good break between it.
yeah, I like writing shorter stories as well. I know
Yeah.
that I could keep going and going and going on, especially with fantasy. There's just so much lore to get into. But yes, I
Yeah.
very much enjoyed working together, and now we get to chat.
Yes, I know. It's good to speak to authors after I've worked with them because obviously you learn so much about an author through their writing and through emails and messages. And then when you
Yeah.
actually get to, I've met a couple of my clients in real life. And so when you actually get to talk in real life and see them face to face is a different, you learn more about
Yeah.
them.
It's different. It's different. It's more relaxed.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yes, no, it was very, very great to work with you on that project. And I can't wait to see it come to life because it will come out as this is Air and Flame in my literary journey. That will come out next year on its own, but the anthology will be out next month. So yes, thank you so much, Gabby, for working on that together. But
No
enough
problem.
about me. Let's get into you and your life. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and where you grew up?
Yes. So I was trying to think of my background of how I got into editing, and it's a longish story. There's
Please
lots of
go for
different
it.
steps along the way. I live in Adelaide, and this is where I grew up in Adelaide, South Australia. I spent most of my life living here. I was kind of one of those people that lived in the same house my whole childhood, went to the same schools, didn't really expand much until after I finished university. I went and lived in China for a few years, and that's all part of my, I guess, how I got into editing as well. So I have spent a few years living overseas, but most of my life, and I'm back here now, is in Adelaide.
So cool.
Yeah, and I guess I was always a reader growing up. I was the student that liked English. I was more an English person over a maths person. I liked reading and writing, especially the Twilight and John Green era. That was
Hmm.
very much what we were reading in high school.
Yes.
So yes, I always enjoyed reading and enjoyed the book world. It wasn't really until I finished high school, that kind of summer break at the end of high school, where you have a few months before, I guess, you start university,
Mm.
that I had all this time and I really got into reading a lot. I remember I used to read like 150 books a year
Oh,
back when I had time.
what is that? That's
I
crazy.
know. I know. I don't know how I did
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So when I first went into university, I was studying psychology. And in this time, my love for reading grew. So I ended up, I made a Bookstagram account. So this was kind of the start of the BookTube, Bookstagram, start of all of that.
Yeah.
And I used to work with some publishers. They would send ARCs and books to review.
So
And you
cool.
used to have a book blog. So you had to have a blog that you wrote the reviews on. They didn't care much about Instagram and even like writing a review on Goodreads. They didn't really care much about that. They wanted you to have a blog specifically where you would
Yeah.
release these reviews. So I was studying my psychology. So I was doing all the kind of serious stuff during the day. And then on the buses and after studying, I would read and I would write these reviews. And that was how I really got back into my real love for reading and the book world.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, after some time, I was like, I don't think I want to do psychology anymore. I
Wow.
loved learning about it. It's a really interesting subject, but I just couldn't imagine myself doing it as a job after. I kind of had this more creative side of me that was coming out at the time.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I ended up, after 1 year, I switched to a different university and went to a Bachelor of Arts where I double majored. So I did English and creative writing. So this is kind
Ah,
of where it really started.
the writing
Um,
part as well.
the writing part, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I told my parents I was going to change over my major. My dad's like, creative writing, is that like calligraphy? What is that?
That's
I
funny.
was like, not
No,
quite.
Dad. No.
No. um,
Goodness.
yeah, so um, I guess I did have that dream of working in the book industry, but it was always more the idea of traditional publishing, working for
Yep.
a publishing house, which is very competitive and very difficult to get into. So I just went about this degree not really knowing what I was going to do with it. I just knew I wanted to do something more creative.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously in this course, I was writing a lot now as well. So I used to do a lot of NaNoWriMo and Camp
Yeah.
NaNoWriMo because again, I had time to just
Back in the
sit and write a
day.
book in a month.
Yeah,
Back
just
in the day.
casually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in a lot of these classes, we would do critique swaps. So you would bring a chapter of what you were writing and you'd have to print it off for everyone in the group. And they would have a timer. So they would read the chapter in front of you and then they would discuss with each other. And you would just have to sit there and not, you weren't allowed to say anything. You could
Yep.
take notes, but you just had to listen to them discuss your writing
Awesome.
essentially. And I think that's a
Yeah.
really
It's a
good
good
and
skill.
interesting way.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good skill.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you learn a lot about how other people perceive your work and
Yeah.
whether that was your intention or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then at the time, I was still doing my Bookstagram and my reading and all of this. So I met some other writers online. So we would send each other our books and do like beta read swaps.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into that kind of side. And obviously, through my studies, I was learning about editing as well. So I did a lot of writing courses, but I also did a lot of editing courses as well.
Cool.
So that was a few years.
Yeah.
And then I was coming up to the end of my degree and I was like, oh no,
What
now
do
what
you
am I going to do
what do you
after I
do?
graduate? How am I going to get a
Mm.
job?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is how I ended up in China.
Yes, tell me
So
about China.
they sent out to the English students an email. It was like an agency looking for people to apply to teach English language over in China. And I
Oh,
thought, oh, I'll apply. What's the harm? And then I got through the agency stage, and then I had to apply for schools there. And then I got through that stage, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to
you're
China.
going to China. Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Um, and yeah, I guess it was my version of a gap year was the
Yep.
plan. I have this year to travel a bit to try something new while I decide how
Very
I'm going
new.
to, yeah, how
Mm.
am I going to get into editing or the book world, the book industry when I get back. So this was middle of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all know what happened
Okay.
at the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
2020.
Sting.
So I came back home. I came back to
Okay.
Adelaide. The plan was for a few weeks. I thought was what
Yep.
this was going to be. A few weeks I'll come back home and then I'll go back and it'll be fine.
Yeah, well.
But I ended up being back for about 8 months.
Yeah.
So I was unemployed now. I
Mm.
have time. I guess I can start to work out what I can do with this degree that I
Yeah.
have.
Yep.
Yeah. So because I was doing a lot of beta reads with other authors, I thought I would start doing more manuscript evaluations. So is a more higher level beta
Hmm.
read. And then because I'd done a lot of editing courses in my uni degree, I had that background. So I did a couple more online courses just to refresh. And then I started offering editing services as well. So it was very low price, very beginner level editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what started into editing. It was just meant to be something to do while
Yeah.
I was unemployed.
Got
And then I
employed through
eventually
that.
did go back. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So I did go back to China after
Yeah.
about, I think it was like 6 or 8 months, and I
So cool.
spent a couple years there in the end. So what was meant to be 1 year ended up being a 3 year journey all up.
In the
Yes,
same
I actually taught.
part of China, is that right? Or did you move around?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I stayed in the same, in just outside of Guangzhou, so down
Yep.
south of China. Yeah,
So
it's a really
cool.
beautiful country. It
Yeah.
is. I got to do a little bit of traveling, not as much because there were so many restrictions, but it was still a big journey,
Oh, it's
a good
so
experience.
cool. It's just amazing to go somewhere completely different to what you're used to. Oh, that's just such an amazing
Exactly.
story. But yes, you came back from
Yeah.
China and then you were working out what to do next. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So I came
Mm.
back, and while I was over there teaching, I would do some editing jobs,
Yep.
maybe like one a month. So that kind of kept me busy on the weekends, which was nice. But yeah, I came back and now I was kind of in the same place that I was before I went, where I was like, what am I going to do now?
What are you going to do now?
So this
Mm.
is where I started my editing Instagram account. I'd kind
Yep.
of stopped the book reviewing and all of that
Yep.
before I moved overseas. But when I made my editing Instagram, this is where I more discovered the indie author community. I think a lot of the edits I was doing before were more for authors who were looking to query for traditional publishing.
Yes. Yep.
There was the odd indie author here and there, or ones who were looking to self-publish, but for the most part, I think was more ones looking for advice on the story or some tidying
Mm.
up of language and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
this is where I discovered this whole other world of publishing that I don't think I really knew much about
No, it was
before.
kind of new in that stage. Like, I'm just thinking about,
Yeah.
even from my experience, like, I really started to immerse myself into the writing and the indie world after 2020, 2021. So I guess that's the same
Mm-hmm.
time frame of what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this is end of 2022 when I
Hmm.
came back and got back into it all. So yeah, I was like, oh,
Mm.
so there is this whole world, this whole book world I didn't really know much about
No,
in any sense.
it's
And
emerging.
yeah, I guess it kind of just grew from there.
Yeah.
I slowly built my client list more and more, worked with new authors, have been doing different services, and obviously professional development is very important. So I'm learning more myself along the way.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, now when I got back after a few months, I started teaching
Ah.
English language. So what I was doing in China was with kindergarten students.
Oh,
So
how
it's the
lovely.
Yes. So it's the
Yeah.
same idea. I'm teaching international students still,
Yep.
but adults instead of
Yeah.
kindergarten students.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I got into editing. It's a long, windy road.
It's a long road, but it's so encouraging to see that you always found your way back to your passion, because so much of the time,
Mhm.
like, it can feel like in how competitive it is in finding a job, and finding a job in the
Yes.
creative field is also something that is seen as a bit of an uphill battle. But if you can persist with it and you have the dream, you can certainly do it. And that's where you are now, doing your editing.
Mhm.
Do you still teach English as well?
Yes, I do. That's my
Yep.
full-time job is teaching
Awesome.
English. So now, yeah,
Yeah.
I work with international students at a university. So some students need to reach a certain level of English before they start their degrees. So
Yes.
it's more academic English I'm teaching. So I'm teaching them essay writing and how to do presentations rather than just general speaking English kind of thing.
Yep, perfect. Did you have to do extra qualifications to be able to teach English back here in Australia, or was your education, I guess, on the ground experiences over in China, was that enough to get your foot in the door?
Yeah, so they usually like you to have a bachelor degree with some relation. So
Yeah,
obviously
okay.
English.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then you do have to do, I had to do like an online certificate, like one of those 120-hour certificates
Yeah,
for teaching
cool.
English as a second language. So I
Cool.
think that paired with my experience as well. But it
Oh,
was hard when I came back because they were like, yes, we see you have experience overseas, but you don't have experience in Australia teaching international
okay.
students. So I guess it's a
Yeah,
different
different,
kind of
isn't
thing.
it?
So it was hard to find a job at first. I was working like part time at a small place before I ended up
Yeah.
at the university. So
Yep. It's hard. It's hard, especially
yeah,
coming out of the lockdown, and you've got so many people that are graduates but haven't found full-time work yet, and there's kind of like a backlog because there was lots of places, laying off people and everything. So you were
yeah,
really in the thick of it trying to get some work, but you made it work. And look at you now.
we made it.
Yeah, you're doing all the things that you love, which I love to hear. So, getting
Yes.
into more of what a day or a week in your life looks like, can you talk us through how your editing business slots into that when you've got full-time work and all this other stuff?
Yes.
Tell us about your
Yes.
life.
All the things. So yeah, like I said, I work full time as an English teacher. So that's most of my days and Monday to Fridays.
Yep.
Um, So that takes up a lot of time, obviously.
Yeah.
But because I enjoy the editing side, it doesn't feel like extra work that I'm doing when I have to come home and or spend time on the weekends doing it. I actually just find it therapeutic to
Yeah.
sit down and it feels like reading, but with a little bit more work on top of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It does sound like a
So
good
yeah,
like cleanup sort of situation where it's like, oh yes, now I get to delve in and meld this into something bigger and better.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, So I actually set at the beginning of this year, I set a goal. I was like, I'm going to have one weekend a month where I do no work.
I
And
love that.
I think that lasted January and
Oh.
that was it.
Okay.
But I do think I am getting better at prioritizing other things on
Oh,
the
it's
weekends.
hard. It's
It's
hard.
hard
Yeah.
when you want to build when you work for yourself and you want to build this into something more, you've got to put the work in. But like I said, I enjoy it, so it doesn't feel like a chore when
Yeah.
I spend my actually quite like the routine of it on the weekends when I get up and I plan what I'm going to do during the day. So I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing myself to work on the
Yes.
weekends.
No,
Yeah.
totally. I very much relate to that. I do work full time as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do find it like more so enjoyable to do my work, like doing this and writing and drawing and all that stuff for the author world, the publishing indie author world,
Mm,
than necessarily my full-time job. But we've got to pay the bills somehow.
exactly.
We've got to pay the
Exactly.
bills. I think that's for everyone in the indie space. We all have pretty much like a full-time or part-time gig on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it's the same idea as authors who, they go to work and then they come home and if they want to write their book, then they've got to spend that extra time writing. It's
You
the
do.
same idea with editing or
Yeah.
any kind of work like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of the time. Yeah, even for the traditionally published authors, like a lot of
Yeah.
them will be working full time as
Yeah.
well. So it's just the nature of the beast and all of that. But
Yeah.
getting into more of
Yes.
your editing styles and things like that, I'm curious to know when you receive like a new manuscript and you're starting the journey from scratch, I guess, with a new author. How do you help your authors shape their story?
Yeah, so I guess it's always different depending on the
Mm.
service that they're after, depending on where their book is at. Sometimes I'll get a manuscript and I'm trying to edit it and I get stressed when a novel is already so well written. I'm like, how do I tackle this? I get a little bit worried. But obviously
Really?
you don't want to edit something that's doesn't need to be edited. So you don't want to be making changes just for the sake of it. So
Yeah.
sometimes, like at the
Yeah.
moment, I received a manuscript, and obviously the author is very much understands style and consistency and all of this. So
I
obviously
would have
there's
thought that's a
always
dream.
something that can be done. No, it's not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Honestly, the messier a manuscript is, the happier it makes me to fix the changes. I don't
Gee,
know
yeah,
what that
yeah.
says about me.
No, I think that's
um,
very interesting. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, it depends on what edit I'm doing. So my most common service that I do is copy edits and line edits.
Yep.
So copy editing is making sure the writing, I guess, is correct, more or less. So making sure the grammar and the punctuation and the word choices and all of that is correct and consistent. So there's different style choices that you can follow, but just making sure that you're following the same thing throughout.
Yep.
So it's more objective with a copy edit,
Yeah.
whereas a line edit is more about the writing itself. So making sure the
Yeah.
writing sounds natural and flows, and your descriptions are vivid, and it sounds nice and it
Yeah.
works well.
And actually, I was
Mm.
curious to know, do you offer, and I should know this, I do apologize, I haven't done my research, but do
Okay.
you offer developmental edits as well?
Not at the moment. I
Hmm.
do manuscript evaluation, so kind of like a beta read.
Yeah.
But I am developmental edits is something I want to get into. I need to do a little bit of studying up on that before I start offering it. So again, once I
Yeah.
have some time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Because it's a lot harder, isn't it? Because even that
yeah,
intimidates me, thinking like, oh gosh, like I don't know how editors can do it because it's hard from a an author perspective to get the world building right and all of that, and then to involve another person sounds like another big level of whoa, okay.
yes,
So I can imagine that's something that does need a bit of studying up or, practice to get into that.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So maybe one day I'll do developmental edits, but at the moment, sticking to the writing side rather than
yeah.
the story side of things.
Yeah, totally.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I think because I'm an English teacher for international students, I have a lot of practice in explaining grammar rules or explaining why something
Why?
is wrong and how to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key to a good editor in general is to not just make the corrections, but to teach, to explain, why does this need to be formatted or styled or written this way and how to easily fix that or things steps on how to tackle that kind of stuff. Um,
Very much
so
agree with
I
that.
obviously, when I do my edits, I use track changes so that the
Yep.
authors can see the edits I've made. So rather than just going in and making the changes myself, the author can see what has been changed. Also, leaving little comments to explain along the way. So I've changed this because, or this is a suggestion on how you can do this.
Yep.
So that's what's usually on the manuscript document itself. Obviously, I don't explain every single change because that would be
Oh,
a
it take
lot.
too long. Take way too long. But
It
it's
would
best
take way
practice
too
to
long.
leave it up to the author to accept the changes. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'll do 2 rounds of edits. So the author in the first round can see what I've changed and accept it. If there is something more so with line edits that they want to keep for whatever reason,
Mm.
I would just ask them to highlight it or make a comment. So, because if they don't change that, that means that maybe there's other things that need to be changed or not changed so that it's still consistent. But yeah, it's always best for the author to go through and accept the changes. And if they're going to make any additional changes, do it with track changes as well. So I can see that in the next round as well.
Yeah.
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 So
That
that's
is,
the
yeah.
manuscript itself. And then
Yeah.
the editorial letter. This is where I will summarize and explain the changes that I've made consistently throughout. Yeah. And again, I will just explain why this is wrong, how to make it right, so that in the future, hopefully,
That's
the
it.
author can notice that
There's a
themselves in their
learning part of
writing.
it as well. Yeah, yeah. And I
Yes.
very much appreciate that part of it because as an author, I'm learning so much when it comes to um, my writing practice with my editors that I've
Mhm.
worked with. They educate me. They educate me because I am definitely not like claiming to be a master of writing or anything like that. But that's where we employ the services of yourself to help me make it into the
Yes.
best possible version that it can because there's just so much that I mean you are trained at so many different levels. You've got the qualifications to be able to go in and clean it up, and that's something that unless you're an author that is an editor, but even still I would also wonder if say you were writing your own book, would you get
Mhm.
another editor to edit it for you? Would that be something you would do?
Yeah, I think it's still a good idea to have someone else, like another professional, still look at it because there could be
Mm,
things that you've not picked up on yourself, or even
yeah.
especially with line edits. If you're the one writing it and you're constantly reading it, you might not realize that something doesn't flow or something doesn't sound right because it's come from your own brain. So I guess if
Yeah.
you've had someone else, another professional to look at it, they can see things that you won't see yourself. So I do think it's still a good idea, even if it's not like an intense edit, just to have something to
Yeah.
look through.
Just have something
Yeah.
to look through, just a new, fresh pair of eyes. Just like when you were swapping over the chapters in your uni
Yeah.
course for other people to have a look at, which again, I find that to be, yeah, such a great way to throw you into, the fry pan, so to speak, the heat, by
Yes.
letting people read your stuff and give their honest thoughts while you're in the room and you can't say anything. That is
Scary.
very, yeah, it's scary, but it's so important and quite a
Mhm.
rare, I say rare, but it's such a gift to be able to receive critique from other people in a structured environment where you're meant to receive positive constructive criticism.
Mhm.
That so my background is in I did a Bachelor of Arts in Visual Arts, and in visual arts we definitely
Mhm.
had to experience that as well with critique
Yeah.
critique of your artwork, critique of all of that, and you have to take it and you have to sift out
Mhm.
what's good and what's not helpful. And if you haven't had that experience and you are going into a world where people can leave their opinions on Goodreads and all of that, it's pretty full on. So I'm
Mhm.
very glad to hear that you've had an experience where you've had to deal with that in a professional way, but also when you give your work to an editor, they are also, I guess, a critique partner as well, and that can be your
Yeah.
first instance into getting critique from someone else on a professional
Yeah.
level. Mm.
Well, yeah. And I think it's important to know to remember as well that not everyone is going to like your what you're writing or everything about your writing. Like for
Yeah,
example, I was when I was in uni in this novel writing course that I was sharing my chapters with the groups. It was a young adult kind of
love it.
romance-esque novel.
Love.
So the girls that were in my group were all my age, so we all had these similar reading tastes, and so I would get good feedback in these critique circles. But when I would submit these as assignments to my, I don't know, my 40-year-old male
Yeah.
teacher,
Mm.
he obviously like he wasn't his kind of thing. So I think writing is obviously very subjective. So some
Yeah.
people are going to enjoy something that other people might not. So that's always something to
It's
think about when getting criticism as well.
'cause it's hard in like in the education field because it's like surely that, your lecturer, your teacher rather should have been objective about that. But of course, it is subjective. Your own perspectives and worldviews are going to seep in to how you evaluate something. So
Yeah.
there's that.
I know. And I
But
wonder if these kind of courses at uni have changed now because maybe
maybe.
romance and these more
Hmm.
less, I guess, like classic
Yeah.
novels are more getting more popular. Like people are happy to read
Mm.
and talk about these other books, whereas maybe at the time, all my English courses were the classics and
Yes.
reading, Jane Austen
Yep.
and Shakespeare and all of this.
The
And obviously they're
classics.
great stories to learn from, but there's a whole other world of literature out there.
There's a whole world, and I think it would be to the benefit of a lot of institutions, universities, to embrace some of the popular books that are coming out there, because romance is really skyrocketing in popularity, and it's
Yeah.
always been popular. It's always really, but I think the contemporary themes that we see, especially the sports romances. I mean, heck, there was
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten that it was on Amazon Prime, the show that
Off campus.
off campus. I should
Off
have
campus, yes.
off campus. I mean, that's turned into a whole thing in itself. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a recent development. Of course, the books have always existed for a while, but it would be interesting to see if a lot of
Yeah.
places are going to explore that kind of emerging popularity in that genre. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. I think the hype around the TV shows that are the TV adaptations that are coming out is definitely helping with that as
Yeah,
well.
it is helping. I do want to get into another aspect of editing and your practice, which is I would love to know your perspective on the most common issues you see when you receive a manuscript. And could you offer some advice to authors about how they can fix them
Mhm.
before they hand it over to you?
Yes. I've actually, funnily, when we were talking about if I am writing, I've not been writing much
Mm.
fiction, but I actually have been slowly working through writing maybe more of a guide than a book that's exactly about this
Yeah.
topic. So yeah, I've
Fantastic.
been working my way through writing up about the most common, specifically the most common copy edit errors that I pick up on
Yeah,
in
nice.
manuscripts. So yeah, there's a definitely some common ones that I see across a lot of the manuscripts I work on.
Yep.
And um, yeah, like you said, fixing these things before handing them over to an editor.
Yes.
Obviously, having a professional look at your work is important, but
Yep.
I think self edits and understanding some of these really simple rules are just as important. I do love correct, like I said, I love a manuscript that has a lot of errors. I love picking up on that
Yes.
stuff, but when
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff, obviously, it's hard to concentrate or focus on the more difficult stuff to fix if I have to be fixing like little punctuation errors and spelling errors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I'm trying to think maybe the most popular or
Mm.
most common, sorry, the most
Mm.
common issue would be dialogue punctuation.
Yep. I'm
So this
guilty.
is this is and it's funny because you think you would notice like what is right or wrong based on reading, but it's just one of those easy
Oh,
things, I guess, that we miss that
oh,
we don't think
totally.
about.
Yeah. I'm
So
there.
dialogue,
Yes.
we have dialogue tags, or we have action tags or action beats.
Yes.
So a dialogue tag is if we are following dialogue by saying who is speaking or how they are speaking, it's related to the speech, the dialogue itself. Whereas an action tag or an action beat is an action, a reaction,
Yeah.
something physical that is not related to the speech itself. So I think it's always if you have your writing and you're not sure, look at the sentences before and after the dialogue. Is it related to the speech, or is it related to a more physical movement or anything else?
Yep.
So if it is about related to the speech, you're going to end your dialogue with a comma. So I always go a really basic explanation. If your dialogue is hello, and you're going to follow with hello, she says, you're going to have your quotation mark, hello, comma, quotation mark, he says, and it should be lowercase.
Ah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
hard
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to explain it,
No, no,
but
I get what you
it's
mean. Yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah.
like it is. Yeah, it is almost like one sentence because the tag is related to the dialogue. So you're
Yes.
not going to have a capital letter for he or she.
Because it's part
So
of
it's
it.
one sentence still. Yeah.
Yes.
Same if
Yes.
it goes before. If we said she says, comma, and then in your quotation marks, hello.
Yes.
Whereas if it's an action or any other type of description, we're treating it as a new sentence. So quotation mark, hello, full stop, quotation mark.
Mm-hmm.
She waves. She waves her
Yeah.
hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're
Yep.
going to start that with a capital letter. She says, or she waves with a capital letter, like a sentence on its own.
Yeah.
So looking at your dialogue, is the sentence before or after saying she says or yells or exclaims, anything related to the speech? We're connecting it with the dialogue. If it's any other type of description, it's a new sentence
Wow.
in itself.
Perfect.
Yes.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I need to get that
Hopefully.
into my head. It's true.
Yeah,
I
I think
think,
it's a good one to have.
yeah,
A
yeah.
good one to have written down to refer to.
I need to refer to that because I know when I get into the zone in a lot of my writing, there's a lot of actions, there's a lot of things going on. I definitely forget what is the correct convention with the dialogue tags. And dialogue itself is something that I do struggle with as well. But yes, I will refer to this episode every time now that I'm
When I
writing.
eventually get around to finishing writing this guide, it'll be there in writing.
Perfect.
I
Yes.
think I've been writing it for like a year and a half now, and I keep
Yeah,
saying at the end, I'm going to finish this by the end of this year, and
it's
it doesn't
okay.
happen. So
You're in the
maybe
same
this will be
camp.
the year.
It happens. You just
um,
get distracted.
I know there's too much to do.
Too much to do. Too much content.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Um,
You're going to be writing a help
yeah.
book.
So I think that's one of the most common ones. I think
Mm.
another really simple one, and I was mentioning this earlier, is about being consistent with the style that you're following.
Mm-hmm.
So that we do have a lot of traditional publishing houses will have a style guide. So this is their books will follow, for example, with ellipses. If
Yep.
you're going to have your 3 ellipses or your 3 dots followed by a space, whether you're going to have spaces on both sides, whether you're going to have no spaces, that's one example.
Yeah.
So different style guides will state that one way is correct or not correct. But I guess with the self-publishing industry, there is more freedom to follow what your preferred style.
Yes.
So this is why having a personal style sheet is important to have so that you can keep track of what rules, what styles am I following throughout, so I can make sure it is consistent in my manuscript.
Mm.
So there's no maybe wrong or right style as long as you're following the same style,
Yep.
the
Yep.
same format, the same punctuation style throughout your whole manuscript.
Yeah.
So and all editors should be doing this if you're working with an editor, is they should have a style sheet that they fill out while editing, to keep track. And you can use this if you have a different proofreader, you can give this to your proofreader as well so that they can double check for this consistency. But I think also it's a good thing for authors to use while they're writing and self-editing
Yeah.
before sending off to their editor as well.
Yep.
Because again, you have a better idea of your own writing style and what you're following as well.
Yeah, yeah, because it was something that I thought for some reason a style sheet was just, the names of the characters and a bit of descriptions, which chapter they come in and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
reviewing the style sheets, it goes much deeper than that. And then you kind of go, oh,
Yeah.
that's how I do things. Oh, yeah, like, of course. So I
Yeah.
need to be consistent with that. So they're very helpful and they're necessary.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like we were talking about earlier, if you need someone else to look at your writing because they will notice things that you don't notice. So
Yeah.
you might not notice that you're formatting your dashes differently every time, or that
Yes.
you're using Australian English in one part and American English in another part. So
Yep.
having someone else to see will help notice that as well.
Oh, it's so true. Even just like using T's instead of EDs for certain words
Yeah,
like learned or like
learned.
learnt. And then
Yes,
I
that's
go,
another.
what am I doing now? What am I choosing? I guess both are correct, but I got to follow what
One.
I'm deciding to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
interesting. Gosh, those are very,
Yeah.
very important things to keep in mind with the editing. But yeah, I think those are well, you've provided some excellent tips for what authors can do before they send the manuscript your way. But as you said, I know that you're very open to receiving a manuscript that has a lot of things to clean up. And but yeah, of course, we want to be respectful of your time and making sure that we have everything that we possibly can do to make sure, as I'm speaking we, as in the authors, making
Mm.
sure that we have the best possible version that we are giving on to you to then create it to be the best possible manuscript that we
Yeah.
have overall. So changing tacks a little bit into perhaps exploring some of the literary genres that are out there. Is there a genre that you haven't edited yet, but you really want to?
Good question. I had to think about this one because I've worked with a lot of different genres. I do mainly do romance and fantasy and romantasy.
Yep.
Done a bit of sci-fi and thrillers and horrors and
Mm,
a bit of nonfiction as well.
yeah.
I think I would, and I've not really done much of this, but maybe more, not necessarily poetry, but
Yeah.
poetical writings, like more
Yeah.
lyrical writing and those kind of deeper literary fiction novels. I think those are what I love to read when I need a
Yeah.
bit of a break from a bit of easy romance. Sometimes I do like a more serious, hard hitting story. So I would like
Mm.
to, and I don't think I've done a little bit of books that touch on that, but I would like to do more of that as well.
That's so interesting. Like, did you find that it was a bit of a pivot to go from, say, for example, like contemporary romance to then going into some of the nonfiction stories that you had to edit? Or did you find it like, I'm just going to approach it the same way that I usually approach my editing?
Yeah, there is slight differences, especially. I think I've with nonfiction, I've only really done copy edits and proofreads for. So those are more, like we said, more objective type of fixing errors. But
Yeah.
I usually do like to work on two different types of edits or two different genres in my
Hmm.
edits at a time. So I usually have two manuscripts going at the same time so I
Yep.
can have a break from one and work on the other. So I do like to, if I'm doing one romance, then I'm doing one fantasy or nonfiction. So I have that distinguish between what I'm doing on this edit and what I'm doing on that edit. So yeah, I do like switching between different genres and different styles. But yeah, nonfiction is definitely a different one, and it took a bit of practice.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine. It's even just like getting into, as a reader, like getting into the fact that, like, all right, now this is going to be written a different way. Perhaps I don't have to spend
Mhm.
much time learning all the different parts of the world, like in a fantasy, for example, but we're jumping straight
Yeah.
into something else completely different. So, is there a favorite genre that you like to edit, or is that just like picking your favorite child? So that's like off limits.
I think it
Yeah.
is romance.
Yeah.
I think it's romance, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I do get a bit of romance brain fry
Yeah.
after a while. I'm like, okay, I need a bit of a break. I need something different. I just find it easier. I think
Yep.
maybe just because I do more romance, so had more
Yeah.
practice in it, it comes
Yeah.
a little bit more naturally. But I do think, yeah, I would
It-
say romance.
yeah. Is that your preference too when you go to a bookshop and you gravitate towards the romance section? Is that because you love to read it as well?
Yes, I think
Mm.
I will go through a stage where I read a few romance books in a row and then I'm like, I can't I can't do this anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
I can always tell when I start to find the romance scenes a little bit cringe. Even
Yeah.
if it might, like,
Mm.
I love cringe, but if it's pointing out to me, I'm like, this is cringe. It's like I need a break
Need a
from the romance, is
break.
what it is. Because I could come back to this in a couple of weeks and I'll find it great.
Yeah, it's like eating chocolate all the time. It's just like I love
Yeah,
chocolate, but I know I need a break because this is just too, it is not hitting the way that it should. Sometimes you gotta have the palate
yeah,
cleanser. You gotta have the
exactly.
meat and veg and other stuff. Then you can have your dessert.
Totally.
But that is very, very interesting. Yeah, because I agree. I think that, well, at the moment I'm still reading Yesteryear, the novel by I think
Oh
it's
yes.
Caro Claire. Oh my gosh, I can't remember their
Have it
last.
right here.
Oh,
Yep.
do you?
Harrow.
They're back.
That's it.
Somewhere
That's it.
yellow there.
Yes. And so the next book that I have lined up, I know that it's going to be a fantasy because I know I need to go between. I love to just go between different ones, but I'm also very slow
Yes.
when it comes to reading because life is busy and all of that. I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
just when do we find the time to actually sit down and
I
read?
know.
We just anyway. But
Especially if you're spending your days writing or read
mm,
or editing like I do, then
yeah.
sometimes it's like my eyes are done.
Yeah, eyes are done. I need to just zone out and just listen to an
Yeah.
audiobook. There's
Yeah.
something different with that. But anyway, getting into more of the indie author space and how you observe it and how you interact with it. In what ways have you seen the indie book world change from perhaps when you were back in the day doing NaNoWriMo and all of that stuff to where it is now? What are your observations on how that has all changed?
Mm. But like I said, I feel like I didn't really know much about the self-publishing and indie publishing world until um, I think I said 20, end of 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
So because I only really knew about traditional publishing more or less. So I think even what I've noticed since then is that it's like we said, it's gotten bigger. More people know about it. It's more openly accepted, and there's less stigma around,
Yeah.
the thoughts of self-published means there's going to be lots of errors in it and it's not well written, which we know is not true because a lot of indie writers put a lot of money and effort and work into getting their books
Absolutely.
out.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think as well, like seeing all the book events that are happening and that people are traveling around to is also such a great thing to see.
So
Like
cool.
in Adelaide, obviously we have a romantic affair,
Yes. Did you
which
go?
I went last year. I
Yeah.
went last year and I didn't make it this year because I did the thing where it was on the weekend of my birthday. And I didn't know if
Birthday.
I had anything planned, but I was like, if I don't have anything planned, I will buy a last minute ticket. But then
And
it
they
sold out,
all sold
which
out.
is obviously great. Great
Oh,
that it sold out.
it's
But
crazy how
um
it sold out. It was
yes,
insane. Oh my
I know.
goodness. Yeah.
But I was driving past the entertainment center on the day where it was at. I was with my boyfriend in the car and we just saw all the people like walking down with their book trolleys and stuff. And so it's lovely to see.
It's amazing. I was there. Damn, we could have
uh,
seen each other.
I
But
know.
yeah, it was there was a line of people before it even opened, and I was thinking,
Opened.
oh my goodness,
Wild.
this is yeah, but it's just so exciting to see.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good thing.
it's just amazing. But it's a
Yeah,
shame you didn't get
I
a
know.
ticket. But they need to
I know.
make more
Maybe
tickets.
next year.
Maybe next year. That's right. I
Next
think it's going to be in
We'll be more
October next
prepared.
year. So it won't be
Oh,
around your
okay. So
birthday, I think.
that's
Yes.
good.
So you're a
That's
May
good.
baby, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm in May as well.
Taurus.
Oh,
Are you?
oh, what day is your birthday?
Like 19th.
Oh, we're 2 days apart.
Oh, what's yours?
I'm 17th. There you go.
17th. Oh,
There you
wow.
go. Oh
May,
my
I don't know
goodness.
if it's just my friends and family, but May is such a popular birthday month in my world.
They do say that it runs like that. I know February is like that for us. Lots of Aquarians in our
Yeah.
family, which I love.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's just such a that's such a vibe. I love it. Two Taurians talking. But that's why we're in the creative field because that's just part of that's just the astrology of it all.
Yes.
But yes, I know it was a very busy weekend that weekend. So there's going to be lots of book events popping up. I know tomorrow I'll be going to the um I've just had book booth, the book booth one. Do you travel
Okay.
interstate for any book events, or you mostly go to the ones in Adelaide?
Yeah, I've not traveled interstate for one. I've just gone to the
Yeah,
ones. There's been a couple in Adelaide that I've gone to.
yeah.
Yeah, but even yeah, over the last couple of years, like we said, there's been more of them, and it's good, especially because there's a thing like nothing happens in Adelaide, even though there's so much going on in Adelaide, but
We need more
it's good
stuff
to
in
see more
Adelaide.
events coming up in Adelaide.
Yes, yes, because I love traveling to Adelaide. I feel like that's one of my favorite spots to go to, especially for book events. I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's lovely. I feel like that's an unpopular Melbourne opinion as well.
I don't understand where it comes from because it's like Adelaide is just so easy to get around. I was driving in the city, not feeling the stress of the Melbourne.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, you've been to Melbourne, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of times.
You know what it's like in the city. It's so hard to move around, and the traffic is just, I know that Sydney's will complain. Don't say,
Oh,
bad, like you don't know what bad traffic is, but it's hard to navigate. But when I was in Adelaide, I was just, cruising down, find a car park, no problem. And it's just
yeah.
like
And it's
Melbourne
just a
can't.
beautiful city.
Yes, it is a beautiful city and it's nice,
Mhm.
easy to get around, beautiful houses. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So that's where I'd happily travel there to do book events. I'm not going
Yeah,
this
nice.
year, which is a shame, but hopefully next year because I love that one as well. So anyway,
Yes.
anyway, we should wrap up this wonderful chat that we've had together. And I should ask you a very important last question. Where can people find your services online? Spruik yourself.
hmm Mostly I am on Instagram, so my handle is GCD Editorial, and that's where most of everything, all my information, all my services. I give some editing tips and I talk about my authors and their books over there as well. I do have a website, gcdeditorial.wordpress.com, but I guess I think my website is very basic. So
Yeah.
everything that's there is in more detail and looks nicer on my Instagram page.
Yeah, but you know what? Having a simple website is very much appreciated because people just want
Yeah,
to know what's the info and then go. Sometimes with
exactly.
Instagram,
It's
people don't
easier
always
to
have
find.
Instagram. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing it right. You're doing it right. So, I will put all that information in the show notes below. But with that, I should say a massive, massive thank you, Gabby, for all the hard work that you do for us indie authors in the space. Very much want to say thank you again for editing Air and Flame back in the day in February, I think it was that we
Thank
finished
you.
it. Loved it, and thank you for sharing so much knowledge and advice on this show today. I know that all the listeners will very much appreciate it. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I feel like I talked a lot.
Good.
My social battery will be gone for the rest of the day now.
Hey, that's the introvert life. That's the introvert life. But you deserve a good rest after this. So thank you so much,
Thank
Gabby.
you.
Thank you so much for listening or watching the Indie Author Life show. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to know more about some of our other fantastic authors and other creatives in the indie author space, please check out our Substack, which is Indie Author Life Show. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a like, a follow, subscribe to hear more about stories from the indie author self-published space. Finally, if you want to know more about the books that I write under the name MG Hunt, you can check out my books Still Waters Run Deep and Elara and the Passing on my website, which will be in the show notes below. Thanks so much for tuning in and hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.